So how do we get this knowledge? Well, in traditional Sufism, there's 4 ways. And I'm not suggesting that we do this because times are different. We have to develop our own path. But there were 4 ways. 1, sleep less. Don't sleep much. Some of you are insomniacs, you have no problem with that. 2, eat less. Or don't eat at all. What do you think 3 and 4 are? You should use me as an example of what not to do. Ah, very good. You got the hint. Silence. So you have to sleep less, eat less, silence, and the last I'll tell you, be away from the world. Be alone.
So is that why those dervishes look like those pictures you have?
Yeah. Yeah. That, and they did a lot of hashish. Oh, now the secret's coming out, huh? It's true. In traditional Sufism, many of the orders use different stimulants at a certain point. But along with that, you don't hear this part of the story, at a certain point the sheikh, the teacher, would say, finished. And you never took a stimulant again. So you can take whatever stimulant you want as long as finished means finished. Coffee? No, coffee's allowed. You know the story about the prophet and the dates? Yeah, well, that's the same with me with coffee. You don't know the story? Oh, a woman came to the prophet and she said, look, I'm a poor woman and all the money we have my son takes and he buys dates, which were the sweets of the day. And could you please tell him, you're the great prophet, he'll listen to you. Tell him to stop eating dates. And the prophet said, okay, come in 6 weeks with your son. She said, 6 weeks? He said, 6 weeks. So they came back in 6 weeks with the son, and the prophet looked at him and he said, stop eating dates. So the woman looked at the prophet and said, for that you had to wait 6 weeks? And the prophet said, I had to see if I could stop eating dates before I told him to. So, well, I gave up coffee, so I can speak about that. And then I took it back in consciously. Those 4 things, we have to find an equivalent of them now, here, in this civilization, in this culture, because there's still the 4 ways to bring, not the brain, the mind to rest. When the mind is at rest, the real imagination takes place. What is the real imagination? It is the transcendent aspect of God, the infinite, the part that we cannot know. I hadn't planned on any of this, but actually I haven't done one thing I've planned in the last 3 days, so why change now? But in traditional Sufism, you learn by having experiences of ecstasy, called hal, and then underneath the hal, you build the makam. What is the makam? Well, you need to create some stability underneath the ecstasy. Otherwise, you have a very unbalanced life, unhealthy life. So you need to create ways to incorporate that state of ecstasy in your life. Once you do that, you have another hal. Well, as you progress on the path of ecstasy, the makams that you build are actually hals. So you're solidifying ecstasy. That gives you the impotence to go to the next level and the next level and the next level. And as you build on ecstasy, the questions begin to disappear. And for those of you students of Piro Mershid and Ayat Khan, he always speaks about the answer that uproots the question. And we, because we're school children, think that that means, oh, this is an answer. Let me just hear the answer and it'll uproot the question. Really what he's saying is that state of ecstasy that obliterates the unknowing underneath it. And then we go to the next and the next and the next. And the only danger is that you can go nuts. I mean, but once you give up the fear of that, it's much easier. Because the mind tries so desperately to stay sane. Why? Why? Why do you think? Because we believe that if we're sane, people will love us. And if we're crazy, they won't. The primal text in Sufism is this text called Kashf al-Majub. Kashf al-Majub. What does it mean? Kashf means insight, looking into. Majub, madness. Looking into madness. It doesn't mean, well, I'm going to look into madness. It means that we are looking into madness, which is ourself, and allowing ourselves to be fearlessly open. We don't know what is possible in us until we give up this attachment to being like everybody else. I mean, that's a nice way to put it. I was going to say being sane, but that's frightening perhaps.